Mistakes when asking for money. I'm a private lender. We lend money all the time. So I'm going to let you into my brain. What do I want to see as a private lender? What do I want to look at? And how do I evaluate your deal? Because most private lenders, when you submit a deal and it's poopy like this, they're not even going to look at it. So I'm going to help walk you through this. Do not tell me how you feel about it. No investor wants to know how you feel. They want to know if it's a good enough deal to fund. Right off the bat, I want to know, what is my ROI? If you can't articulate what my return on investment is, I am not interested. Every one of us is in it for ourselves. That's just human nature. I got to know what I make if you want my money. So you think you're selling the deal, but you got to realize that in data over drama, I need to know who you are. You're selling yourself first. Your ability to put this information together and articulate it in a way that's easy for me to understand is directly related to your success in getting that money from me.
YouTube, want to know one thing that I've never heard from a real estate investor before? I have too much money. In today's video, Ben, humble CEO, that's that guy right there, he's going to break down for us the mistakes people make when asking him for private loans and private money to fund their real estate investing journey. Again, this is something I hear time and time again from real estate investors at networking events from across Canada, is that they're struggling to get access to more money so they can scale up their business. In today's video, Ben's going to break down for us the common mistakes he sees because he's a private lender himself. He's lent out on over $21 million in deals in the past. He's been doing this for quite a while. He knows the ins and outs of lending money. So let's learn today on how to better present ourselves to those private lenders.
Hey, what's going on? It's Humble CEO, and today I'm going to talk to you about a really amazing topic that you guys need to learn how to do right. How do we ask for private money? The mistakes when asking for money. Yes, those are poop emojis. So if you're PC and offended by my negative face poop emoji, well then, too bad, then you. Just joking. So how do we ask for money? See, guys, I've done over $22 million of private capital in Canada as of this point, and I know that too many people don't know how to have this conversation. They don't know a process. They don't know what they're doing. So if anything, they just confuse it, they overcomplicate it, and they get analysis paralysis. So I'm a private lender. We lend money all the time. So I'm going to let you into my brain. What do I want to see as a private lender? What do I want to look at? And how do I evaluate your deal? Because most private lenders, when you submit a deal and it's poopy like this, they're not even going to look at it. They're just going to throw it in the garbage and say, peace, and see you later. So I'm going to help walk you through this, and hopefully this will help solve your money problem. So take some notes, write it down, stay focused, and go back and watch this video a couple of times because this is going to be some gold. I would say that I'm probably going to drop some golden nuggets. Let's get going. So how do we do this? Number one, the first thing I want you to realize that you need to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, a private lender does not want to figure out the deal for you. I need to be able to look at your deal and figure out in 5 minutes if it's a good, viable deal. There's only a few key indicators that I want to know. So here's the common mistakes. Do not do this. Do not do what I'm about to tell you, right? Do not write a 6-page documentary about the property, about the deal, and do not tell me how you feel about it. No investor wants to know how you feel. They want to know if it's a good enough deal to fund. So it's all about this thing right here. Data over drama. Okay? You don't want to tell about how you feel about the property and all this other stuff. It doesn't help you. So what are the data points that the lender wants to know? Remember, most lenders were probably investors at some point. They bought real estate. So they already know the game. So the other thing too is if I'm a local investor and a local lender and you want to start telling me how awesome the city is and there's a beautiful bridge expansion coming in, I already know. Has nothing to do with your deal. So let's just get focused on your deal. So less equals more. I find that the people who overcomplicate this is because they don't actually have a good deal in place. Right? Okay, so what do I want to know? Right off the bat, there's two things. Risk and reward. Those are the biggest metrics that I want to know as an investor. I want to know how much am I going to make and what is the risk that I'm undertaking by giving you a loan on this property. Okay? So, right off the bat, I want to know what is my ROI. If you can't articulate what my return on investment is, I am not interested. So here's the problem a lot of people make. They say, will you fund this deal? They send me a picture of a house and a price tag. No, I don't know anything about the property. I'm not interested. How much am I making? You see, every one of us is in it for ourselves. That's just human nature. I got to know what I make if you want my money. So make me an offer here, right off the bat. If you want to put a picture of your house right here, it's probably a poopy house because it needs some work, okay? What's my ROI? So you need to put right here. Oh, you don't know. You don't know what to put. Well, let me tell you. There's two different types of lenders, private and hard money lenders, right? If you want a private mortgage that typically comes from a pre-existing relationship, or you need to do a lot of work to find a lot of private people, right? Private mortgage money goes from 8 to 12%. If you're coming in cold and you're asking me for 8 to 12, you're probably not getting it. And the reason is because most private lenders live in what we call the spread, right? Which means we borrow at this price and we lend at this price. This is the spread. So we need to make money just like you need to make money. Does that make sense? So if I have to borrow, let's say I'm borrowing this capital at 8 to 12, I got to lend it out for more. So if you're coming into an ROI, you need to go 12 to 25. Start there. Right off the bat, say, hey, I'm giving you 20%. Okay, now you got my attention, right? Because the first thing I want to know is how much do I make? First rule of sales 101, Grant Cardone, get people's attention. Your document that's 12 pages does not get my attention. In fact, it gets lost with every other document that looks just like it. If the first thing you did to me go, boom, 20% ROI, now I'm interested. So you think you're selling the deal, but you got to realize that in data over drama, I need to know who you are. You're selling yourself first. Your ability to put this information together and articulate it in a way that's easy for me to understand is directly related to your success in getting that money from me. If you're making it complicated, it's going to be overcomplicated. So ROI, step number 1. Does that make sense? Step number 2 is risk. Risk. And I'll tell you how I analyze risk. I perceive risk in the following. How good of a deal did you get on this purchase price? That's it. I want to know the underlying equity in the deal. Because regardless of what you tell me about the equity or the property or the condition or the plan, I want to know how much real, tangible, intrinsic value do I have in this property.
Hey YouTube, are you currently struggling to fund your real estate deals? Well, if you didn't know, in the community that I and Ben Humble, CEO, have created, Cashflow Tribe, he's actually set aside $2 million just to help tribe members fund their deals for real estate investing, for growing and scaling their business. This is unlike any other community I've ever heard of for real estate investors. You guys need to check it out. And the great thing is, because you're a YouTube subscriber of mine, you get a free 7-day trial. Check out the link in the video description down below. Join Cashflow Tribe today. Free 7-day trial. I mean, what do you got to lose?
I want to know how much real, tangible, intrinsic value do I have in this property. So I'm going to make an assumption and say that that property is worth $100,000 FMV. This is the number I want you to write down. Fair market value. Now, how do you determine that? You take 3 comparables. 3 comparable sales. So I want you to find 3 other properties in the same neighborhood as the subject property and the same condition as the subject property that sold within the last 3 to 6 months. I want you to take those 3 numbers and I want you to write them on a sheet of paper. And let's say, for example, that these properties, one of them sold for $98, one of them sold for $110, one of them sold for $105,000. If I'm going to take those 3 numbers, I'm going to do one of 3 things or one of 2 things as a lender. I'm either going to take the lowest comparable, because I want the lowest risk, or I'm going to take the average, the weighted average between all 3 of those. So rough math is going to say that somewhere between, let's say, about 102 to 105,000. So this property, let's just say it's worth 100. That's the fair market value based on the comps. All I want to know is, what are you buying it for? That's it. If you come to me and said, hey, I'm buying it for 80, it's worth 100, just do this math for me. I'm capturing $20,000 of equity. Now, if you're buying a property off market, or you know what you're doing as an investor, you will never pay full price. If you bring me a deal with 0 equity because you're paying full price or over fair market value, I do not want to fund it. Not unless you're putting a huge down payment on the property, because I don't want the risk. The greatest concern a lender has is this: I'm a passive lender. My job is to lend the money in the deal. Your job as the active partner is to take that money and make more money with it. If I have to take on the risk that I have to then go and take the deal and do the work myself, I do not need you. Make sense? So ROI, risk. So I need you to tell me, what am I going to make? What is the actual equity? So you have $20,000 of equity, okay? All right, number 3, real easy, okay? You can send me pictures of the property, so I have a general idea. Pictures are all I need. I don't need an explanation. I don't need a whole bunch of things. Just shoot me some pics. Is it a brand new, side-by-side, semi-detached property that's in great shape? Or is it the biggest POS in the area that's just falling apart? I just need that real quick. Number 4, if you're gonna do a rehab on it or a reno, I need a very, very simple, easy to understand reno budget. That's it. Ideally, a nice home inspection would help, but most people don't bother to send that far, okay? So these are the metrics that I need to make a decision. And then the last thing I need to know, real easy, is why you? Why you? Why you instead of the other guy? And I'll tell you where this comes from. I like lending to people that, if they had to, would get a second and third job at McDonald's to make this mortgage payment. You understand? Because I don't want to do the work for you. But you could literally break this up into one sheet with a couple pictures, send it to me. Think about your grade school book report, right? How much work did you spend on that? You probably spent a couple hours on the book report because you wanted to get an A. Well, if you got an A on book reports, then hit me up for money, because that's what I want. I want a nice, clean, articulated book report. I do not want the guy who got a D or an F. Right? Because you didn't put any effort into this. I can tell as a lender, my biggest pet peeve is when people put zero effort into this ask. And they send me a bunch of nonsense that means nothing to me, and they expect me to figure out the deal for them. Well, listen, if you're looking for a consultant, then just say, can I pay you to evaluate this deal? But if you're looking for money as a lender, I do not want to do this for you. So if you get this, and this right, good chance you're getting deal. Here's the crazy part. You don't even know how good of a deal you could possibly get. I just funded a deal recently for a guy, Danny, who's in a Cashflow Tribe plug. Okay? In Cashflow Tribe, Danny had never bought a deal before, but he was a contractor. Well, Danny went out and found this property, but his limiting belief was thinking that he had to use bank financing to get a deal done. So once he realized that, hey, I've got money, I can get it from Ben Humble CEO, he actually did this for me. And guess what? Over the course of 2 or 3 emails, he got approved. And guess how much I gave him? I gave him 100% financing. Because he was able to prove 2 things to me that I really care about. And those 2 things are, dun dun dun, confidence and competence. And if you can prove those 2 things, you can get a private lender's money. But if you can't, and you can't articulate this, you're wasting your time and his time. Listen, this is the stuff that's vitally important to your real estate growth. If you understand this concept, you can raise millions and millions of dollars in other people's money. I did. I was able to articulate this and do over $20 million of private money deals. That's why I have money today to lend. It's because I've been on this side. So make this easy to understand. Break it down. Make it simple. Be a nice person. And here's a tip. Big tip. Shoot a quick video and say, hi. Hi, I'm an investor. I'd love for you to help me with this deal. I've done all the work. Here's who I am. I need to know who you are. So your job is to prove this. Confidence and competence. If you send me a vague email with no picture and one of those crazy Kijiji spam email addresses with 6,000 G's and B's in it, you're probably not getting anywhere with me or any other lender. By the way, I am the easiest lender to work with because I understand this and I understand investors and I want to lend. We have millions of dollars that need to be deployed every month. All you got to do is prove these 2 things. Listen, if you love this topic, we have actually a $2 million fund right now set up in Cashflow Tribe. If you're not in Tribe already, you need to hop over there. It's an amazing community of people, and we're looking at growing together. So cashflowtribecanada.com, you need to hop over there, jump in the free group, jump in this fund group that we have. It's dirt cheap to be in it. We go over this stuff in detail on a regular basis because I understand the value of this, and frankly, nobody other than Matt McKeever really teaches this this stuff in detail. You kind of have to figure it out on your own. So write a book report, get this information, and if you want my time or energy, come join me at Cashflow Tribe, and let's make this happen. Your future is waiting on you. See you soon.
Cashflow Tribe.
Thanks again to Ben for breaking down for us exactly the mistakes he sees people consistently making when trying to fund their real estate deals. This is a real struggle for a lot of real estate investors, so I really appreciate Ben taking the time to break down the common mistakes he sees us making when we're going to ask for private money. If you guys enjoyed this content, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing for Cashflow Tribe. Check out Cashflow Tribe Beta Facebook group, a completely free Facebook group just for real estate investors to come together, learn and network, and just really let's level up. It's 2020. It's time to start crushing your real estate goals.
Cashflow Tribe.